What's up, guys? We are back for another review, and this is going to be a first for this channel. Just a different property that I'm going to review, at least in terms of action figures, because I have taken a look at one thing for this particular character in the past. But today we're taking a look at my first NECA Godzilla figure. This is a Loot Crate exclusive. I'm not honestly sure when this came out. I want to say it was at least a little while ago, maybe a year or so ago probably, for the Reactor Glow Godzilla. And this is, as far as I know, just an exclusive Loot Crate version that is a recolor of the Burning Godzilla. So if you're familiar with Burning Godzilla, this is the same thing, only he glows in the dark. So yeah, that was kind of the main focus for getting him. I love glow-in-the-dark figures. As far as packaging goes on this guy, it's pretty sparse, and this is basically the same thing you see across the entire line. We've got Godzilla in the background in this big open window clamshell, and then on the back we've just got a big product shot as well as our logo down there on the bottom. So yeah, let's pull this guy out and take a look. Alright guys, here he is out of the package, the king himself, Godzilla, and again, this is the Loot Crate exclusive Reactor Glow Godzilla, and you know, the big draw for me was honestly the fact that, one, I have always been a very huge Godzilla fan. I've just never really gotten into the toys, but then I saw this one, found out he glows in the dark, and well, now we're here. So of course we're going to do all the normal stuff. We're going to kick things off and take a look at articulation, see how this guy moves around, because there is a lot of stuff going on here that definitely is new to me in terms of figure, and I'm sure he moves around in a kind of weird way just because of what he is. So as far as articulation goes, he does have a lot of articulation, but he is still going to be limited in some ways just because of sculpt, bulk, and then the fact that, you know, it's Godzilla. He's not the most agile thing ever. So we've got a lot of different joints all over the body here, but they don't necessarily move as wildly as you might want them to. But I kind of get what they're going for here because he moves kind of like somebody in a big rubber suit might move, honestly. We've got a head that can swivel, and it does have some side to side. It doesn't really have any up or down though. The neck on its own can swivel around as well. So you've got 2 points of rotation there. Arms can go out. We can rotate all the way around. There is a bicep swivel. We have got rotation at the elbow, and then we've got a single jointed elbow. We've got rotation at the wrist, but there's no hinge, but he does have hinged fingers, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of close his grip, but he normally would just have kind of like a slashing motion. The diaphragm has a joint here. We can swivel. We can go backwards a little bit. The spines are obviously going to get in the way, and he can go forward quite a bit though. That is very nice. Legs can swivel. So there's full rotation there. There is no outward movement or anything like that. So if you're going to kick, it's going to be more of an outward kick. There is a knee joint though. It's really, really stiff. It's obviously just going to be a single joint, but you get a little bit of momentum there, so you can kind of make it look like he is walking or stomping on something, for example. There is rotation in that knee as well, and then there is rocker, and then a bit of back and forth, as well as rotation at the ankle. He does have an articulated tail, so there are segments into the tail here. So we've got one here, rotates, back and forth, and then down here we've got another one, back and forth, rotation, and then you actually put the tail together, and this hits on a ball hinge, so it swivels and then rotates, moves all the way around, and then part of the tail at the back half is actually a bendy wire, so you can make it look like it's curving a bit, at the very least, to give it a little bit more flair, make it look like it's kind of more lively. Now, in terms of his overall look and feel, the figure itself, I think, looks pretty solid. He is not going to really scale with anything. He is his own thing, basically. So he's about 6 inches tall and about a foot from head to tail. So there is a lot of plastic here, but he really just scales with the other figures in his line. I mean, it's Godzilla, so you can't put him next to a Marvel Legends and it scale correctly. How would it? But that's okay, that's fine. As far as I can tell, based on looking at some of the parts on this guy, the actual plastic itself is what glows. It's not a paint that's applied. The interior of his chest cavity is bright green. That tells you that the plastic itself is what glows and not necessarily something on top. So the forearms are not that glow-in-the-dark plastic. They're just regular kind of black plastic, and then everything else from kind of the knees on up is in that green plastic that is then painted, and all of that paint looks really nice. You got that nice patchwork design, and like I said previously, I believe this guy is just a redeco of their Burning Godzilla, and that makes the most sense. And I think it looks really nicely because, you know, I kind of want that Burning Godzilla now. We do have the spikes that run down his back, and they, of course, glow in the dark as well. And we have got the tail here that has tons and tons of sculpted segments. And then, of course, like I showed in articulation, some of them are articulated to give it a little more life. And then we've got a bendy wire in part of this tail, so that's really great. Always a big fan of that, because, you know, you don't want it to just stick straight out. You want it to give it a little bit of life, and that wire really helps it. And then the paint on this tail is applied very cleanly. You know, if you've heard some of my reviews of some other NECA lines, I've had some hit or miss luck with some of their stuff, and this figure I think is in general free of any real QC issues. I don't have anything to report. In general, I think he is a very, very solid toy. I'm a big Godzilla fan, and I'm surprised I've never gotten one of these before, but I think I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole with these for some reason. You know, just because, why not? We might as well. But this guy does look really fantastic. He's got a great head sculpt. He's got a great paint application. And then, of course, he glows in the dark. And as far as how he glows, he is pretty bright. As you can see here, we have got full-on glow, and he, of course, reacts very well to blacklight as well. So you can, you know, put him in a dark room, and he will just light up your shelf. And that's always a bonus for any figure line, Godzilla or otherwise. And beyond that, there's not a great deal to talk about with this figure. Solid sculpt, solid paint applications, awesome glow-in-the-dark feature, and he's articulated in a way that I can understand. He's not overly articulated, but he kind of moves like you would expect Godzilla, you know, a guy in a rubber suit, to move around. He doesn't come with any accessories, but that's because it's Godzilla. What do you expect? He could have come with an atomic blast, but I get why he doesn't, and there are other figures in this line that do. So that's always a good thing to have. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with this figure. It's a great introduction to this line. Of course, do I need another line to buy? Definitely not. But I'm sure I'm going down that road now. So that's going to do it for this look at the Reactor Glow Godzilla from NECA Toys. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.